goodness. What is the FBI thinking? They must be the most unaware, mindless, bureaucratic government agency on the internet right now. And this is absolutely great. One, because they are getting epically trolled right now on Twitter. And two, this is a great opportunity to remind you the true history and actions of the, quote, Federal Bureau of Investigations. That's why we're going to get into some of the hypocritical latest posts from this new social media manager for the FBI that is sure to get fired very soon. But until he does, we're going to get into some of the latest tweets from the FBI, which will sadly probably disappoint my FBI agent. And we're going to get into that, plus a lot more from an independent media organization that is not financed by secret government seed funding, nor any corporate interest, but through t-shirts and hats, like this one, or this one, or this one, which you could get, or even the shirt right here. This combo here, by the way, confuses a lot of people, gets a lot of looks, gets a lot of eyeballs, and if you want to have interesting conversations, if you want people to be aware of important issues, the We Are Change clothing store is definitely for you. The link will be in the description, and with your purchases, you allow videos like this and future videos every single day to be available for you for free. So yeah, thank you everyone clicking on the link below and getting yourself a t-shirt, hat, mug, or phone case, or whatever it is, to of course also help spread the word about important issues that deserve to be talked about. Now lately, the new social media manager for the Federal Bureau of Investigations hasn't had a good time, especially constantly being ratioed and reminded of the Bureau's hypocrisy when it comes to their latest post, specifically the one today about Martin Luther King Jr. and also the one recently about prohibition. And the responses to these are absolutely hilarious, and we will be getting to them in just a little bit. But just moments ago, the FBI officially tweeted, quote, "Today, the FBI honors the life and work of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. A quote from Dr. King is etched in stone at the FBI's Academy Reflection Garden in Quantico as a reminder to all students and FBI employees the time is always right to do what is right," even including the hashtag MLK Day, which they promptly got ratioed. And I was just absolutely shocked at the mindlessness when it came to this extremely hypocritical post, since, you know, there was a court case in the United States that determined that it was that same agency, the Federal Bureau of Investigations, that helped orchestrate the murder of Martin Luther King. Yes, the U.S. government, specifically the FBI, was found guilty in a conspiracy to kill Martin Luther King. And as famous comedian Tim Dillon said, this is literally like OJ tweeting about Nicole, prompting one person to respond immediately saying, not really. One was proven guilty in court. One was proven innocent. And yeah, he's absolutely right. But again, just as a reminder, after 4 weeks of testimony, 70 witnesses, after hearing all the evidence from Dr. William F. Pepper, 12 jurors reached a swift and unanimous verdict on December 8th, 1999, saying that Dr. King was assassinated as a result of a conspiracy. Yeah, that's an important fact to remember here, because Martin Luther King was vilified by not only the establishment, but of course the media, the government, and anyone in significant power that he threatened with, of course, his, civil rights movement. Now, this, of course, is a fake tweet that didn't happen, but essentially, this is the message that the FBI is sending out there that I personally got from it. And to add insult to injury, we also have to be reminded that this is the same government agency that literally, when Martin Luther King was going through a very difficult time, decided to send him a letter urging him to commit suicide. The FBI also illegally wiretapped Martin Luther King, spied on him, found him to be cheating on his wife, and when he was in jail, they presented this audio recording, videos, and photos of MLK cheating to his wife so his wife would break up with him when he was in jail. Now, MLK by some people has been considered a dog, but again, that's personal stuff that doesn't really matter. And those are extremely immoral and very underhanded tactics used by the FBI that now is, quote, honoring him. And again, we still don't know the majority of the stuff that the FBI and other government agencies did against MLK. But again, the media ran with headlines like this, with direct attacks from the FBI calling MLK the, quote, most notorious liar in the country. And we have to remember, Martin Luther King was slandered in the mainstream media, attacked, vilified, and most likely, if he was around today, we would be watching him being called, I don't know, freaking a white supremacist. Seriously, I've been watching a little bit of the mainstream media. It's absolutely insane, the reporting that's coming out of them. Seriously, if MLK was alive today, he would be absolutely slandered and attacked and vilified like he was when he was alive. And today, during a day that is a national holiday, we should remember that this government treats people very badly who try to reform society through social movements. This is just the plain history that can't be ignored, unless the social movements work in favor of special interests, work in favor of the government taking away your rights, and then we're seeing a lot of promotion of these civil rights and these causes that, of course, at the end of the day, work out towards their benefit. But let's look at some of the replies here. Obviously, I had to jump in on this tweet immediately. They're getting severely ratioed. Sticks and Hammer wrote, "You mean the dude you profiled and harassed with blatant disregard for the Fourth Amendment and who you almost certainly assassinated?" Another great meme above here. S.A. Blister wrote, "Forgot to post this letter you guys sent him." This, of course, being the suicide letter that they officially sent to him. At Turntable wrote, "From one communist organization to another organizer." Frog Lionel writes, "Thanks." I was like, WTF? Did the FBI really think society forgot? And again, these responses really do tell you that, one, people aren't really that dumb. People haven't forgotten the true history here. And two, why the government needs and is aiding and abetting in the censorship of free speech online. This is this is a pretty good meme, I have to say. Personally enjoyed this one myself. There's also a lot of people here mentioning COINTELPRO, which was an official government program that, again, was very unlawful and also immoral. And again, you have to just see the comments yourself. They're pretty epic, to say the least. And it's not just one post. There was even another post 4 days ago that got just as badly ratioed, just as badly responded to, and that, of course, was this one, with them saying, quote, "Raise a glass. Today is the 100th anniversary of Prohibition, which led to the FBI's pursuit of the American gangster. During the Roaring '20s, mobsters spent their profits from bootlegging and speakeasies on Tommy guns and bribes. Read more #history at this link." And again, this is just pure gold and should be astonishing. One, because of the lack of self-awareness, but two, the incompetency to even just have a little bit of hindsight. But this also points to what government currently thinks. And this is kind of dangerous and scary too, since they're insinuating that prohibition is still a good thing. And as Sarah James too points out in the responses, saying, quote, "Prohibition creates organized crime. The fact the government, can't see this is astonishing, but not surprising since history repeated itself with the war on drugs." And Sarah is absolutely right about that fact, because if it wasn't for prohibition, if it wasn't for prohibition, there wouldn't be this surge of American gangsters in the 20, only because of a legal business that was made illegal and had to be done underground, had to be done through illicit ways, had to be done by bad men who faced jail for doing something as simple as providing someone a drink of alcohol, which by the way is poison and you should just avoid anyway. But regardless of the fact, we should still have the freedom to do this. But because people couldn't get something that they wanted, psychologically, they wanted it more. And again, it was this arbitrary, made up laws by the US government that created these gangsters. And the fact that they even say raise a glass is such a slap in the face of anyone paying attention. It's as if they're deliberately trying to piss people off. As Voluntary Ellie says, quote, do that thing we banned and murdered peaceful people over to celebrate how we created a whole new breed of criminals and took down someone who would have never been anything more than a businessman if not for us. End quote. And leaving it with, okay, boomer. Sir Fussy Pants says, cool. Now talk about the war on drugs and how poorly that's gone. And again, prohibition is one of the most painful moments in American history that was absolutely pointless, that created the mafias, the gangsters, crime, murder, and humans suffering on grand proportions that should have never happened. And it's an utter disgrace, and for the FBI to be raising a glass of alcohol to this is just, I mean, ridiculous. Definitely agree with this golden chair response, including the gif here of Chris Farley. And we have to remember, because of prohibition, there was also the consequence of restricting of the Second Amendment because of this huge influx of mafia power and money that got into the hands of gangsters who thrived under these new government laws. At Kiss Outta Here says, can't wait until you can go after the vapors. At Roe v. Wade Bog says, let's toast that time you guys made organized crime stronger and richer than ever. At Calverley Life says, if big government had left people alone and not tried to take away their liberty, none of that would have ever happened. You created the monster you fought. Well done. Of course, many people are trying to tell the FBI to delete this tweet, while many people, of course, are also enjoying the ratio and the brutal comments that honestly restore a little faith in humanity. I mean, for a second, I thought we were long. I mean, if you pay attention to that boob tube and look, it's another farmer ad. Whoa, gee, what a surprise. What is that? Alexis, what, you got legs that are tired or something? It doesn't matter. They'll say you a pill for it. This is also how you know that, of course, only old people are watching, and old people who don't know that there's alternatives out there that are still stuck to the boob tube. Since you just see the advertising is just medicine for old people, because that's the only people who are still watching the propaganda. Also, there's another important historical fact that you should be made aware of, especially if you love government or trust government, or somehow you fell on your head, hit it really hard, and want more government. You should be reminded that during Prohibition, U.S. government agents poisoned barrels of prohibited alcohol so it would poison people, kill people, to cause a panic that would make them not drink. Thousands of people have died because the U.S. government and its agents poisoned alcohol so people would drink it and die. This, of course, happened, created a panic. The mainstream media ran with articles and information supplied to them by government talking about how illegal and dangerous was to consume bootleg alcohol, since the government wanted to convince everyone that it was poisonous, as they were putting poison in there and killing thousands of American citizens to scare you to not drink. And again, this happened multiple times all throughout this country. This is what the chief medical examiner in New York City during the 1920s said was, quote, our national experiment in extermination. And again, this is reason one out of 1,558 gajillion billion why I just don't trust government. And the history of government should always be reminded. So I sincerely thank the incompetent people the new social media manager, the very short term social media manager for the FBI, for reminding us about these very important historic lessons that many people wouldn't know about if it wasn't for them just being ignorant butts. And yes, they do deserve all the scrutiny that they can get for these posts, and they do deserve to be called out here because the history is still relevant, it is still important, and is still something that is plaguing this country that deserves to be called out. The FBI still spies on many Americans, especially Americans trying to make social change. Many times they do this illegally, having many even warrantless searches. They've also built a massive facial recognition database without proper oversight, proper transparency. And then again, this is an organization that has been overreaching their authority, has been lying and covering up illegal actions that they have been doing, showing that it's an agency that is largely corrupt. Now, of course, not all of the FBI agents, especially my FBI agent. I have a great FBI agent, by the way. He's awesome. He's pretty cool. I hope so. If you're watching this, we're cool, man. Don't worry about it. I haven't met you yet, and I don't want to. But by and large, this entire big bureaucratic government law enforcement agency is an agency that has very little oversight, has very little accountability, which leads to very dangerous circumstances that we as a country should always try to be wary of and try to avoid, especially with the latest intelligence agencies and FBI's involvement in the politicizing of party politics, which again is not something that an organization with very little accountability should be involved in. An organization that has a lot of power should not be involved in. That power deserves to be checked, and there deserves to be some transparency. And until we get it, I'm sorry, even if we get it, it's time not to trust bureaucratic government agencies. And again, we have to understand here, these agencies have far more power than we can even understand and have done far more sinister things that we still don't even know about. And we already know a lot about them, a lot of really bad stuff. And we have to remember, mainstream media usually just goes along with power and authority. And as the New York Times recently admitted, it works with them one-on-one and even asks the U.S. government for approval before publicizing stories. And many times the government has decided what the New York Times can and cannot publish, as well as other media organizations. But this is why we have independent media that is clearly being censored and silenced online. But we're still here. You're very lucky to get this video. Share this video with your friends and family members because it definitely won't get out there to the regular YouTube algorithm. It definitely will not be monetized since most of our videos automatically are demonetized. Very rarely are our videos monetized, and this is why, this is why we got, the gear to make up for the lost funds that we're incurring for essentially speaking truth to power, for essentially speaking this message of transparency, accountability, and doing your own thinking for yourself as an individual, and not just trusting some media pundit, not trusting some criminal gang enterprise that is pushing for their gang to win, not pushing for any special interest or government globalist interest, but pushing for independent, critical thinking, diversifying of thoughts and ideas so they could grow and foster like they should. There's a reason why there is such suppression of free speech, such suppression of information. And oh yeah, the FBI also has Jeffrey Epstein blackmail tapes that they most likely won't be doing anything with as well. So that's the news for today. Stay tuned for more here on wearechange.org. And because you guys are still here, because you guys still watch up until this point, which means a lot to me, this is why I love you guys. Thank you again so much for watching. Stay tuned for more here on wearechange.org. See you later, FBI agent dude watching that I haven't met before. Be cool, dude. Don't be a douche.